Good morning, everybody. My name's Scott Sikorsky. I'm going to be running this webinar today. It's the third series of quite a few different webinars about our Project Solve SharePoint site. Today we're going to be going over how EDMS functions. A little bit about this webinar. Like I said, we're going to go over how documents are attributed and archived in the department's electronic document management system. We are recording this webinar, and it's going to be placed on the State Construction website for future reference. A little bit later, I'll show you where you can locate those. Also, the questions. This is a GoToMeeting. We are not using the raise hand feature, but we are using the questions feature. Go ahead and type in any questions you have, and we will try to address as many as possible during the webinar, time permitting, but all questions will be answered in writing and sent out to the participants afterwards. Okay, with that, I'll get started. Some of the topics I'm going to be going over today. One is the plan. If you weren't aware, we're creating collaboration websites between the contractor and the department. It's called Project Solve SharePoint, and I wanted to go over that. I'm going to go over the user roles because this is a SharePoint site. The way you have access and the ability to do different things in this system is by granting roles. And so I'm going to go over the roles to attribute, archive, and QC project documents. Also wanted to go a little bit over the differences between our current system, EDMS, Hummingbird, OpenText, ArcSys, all these different names you've heard over the years, and Project Solve SharePoint. Also wanted to go over what we call the metadata source list. This is a list basically that is a drop-down menu you're going to be able to select from, and by selecting that one item, it's going to fill in the document groups and types that are for EDMS, and I'm going to go over that for you as well. Also, the navigation to the project documents library. This is the library within the SharePoint site where you're going to be working with the project documents. Also, how to upload the documents. We have a few different ways to do that. And then, of course, attribution of the project documents, and then questions in the end. So, the plan. We have a specification we developed specific for this project, and what it is basically you're telling the contractor that he's going paperless and he has to submit all documents to us in electronic format. It's our intention to implement the PSSP in full swing on July 1st of this year. And this means that all contracts led after July 1st, 2016 will be put into Project Solve SharePoint. Basically, they're going to each have their own website where everybody can collaborate for the project. And just so you know, there will be overlap between the two systems. We're still going to be scanning and attributing for the older projects while using Project Solve SharePoint and no scanning anymore, but archiving and attributing the electronic documents. So, as I was discussing a little earlier, PSSP, Project Solve SharePoint, is a SharePoint site, and you're going to have to be granted certain roles. One of those roles, if you're going to be working with documents, is Contract Documents Reviewers Group. So members of this group are the members of the project CEI staff who can edit and approve documents submitted by the contractor. They can also upload, attribute, and archive these documents. We also have the project administrator or their delegate. Obviously, the delegate's going to be somebody who is at the same level or higher authority who can sign on the PA's behalf. And then the third role is the EDMS manager. I'm not going to go too much into this role, but there is, on each district site, there's a roll-up on all the documents from each project site, and the EDMS manager will have access to that to view what is being moved on a nightly basis from PSSP into EDMS. Now, some of the differences I wanted to point out between the current system and Project Solve SharePoint. Contractor submitting all the documents electronically. What's this mean? No more scanning documents. It's going to save us quite a bit of time. One of the things I know everyone's going to have a little bit of issue with, this is a new system, and so we're going to have to become accustomed to a new way to attribute the documents. We're going to have the same information required, but it has a new look. So there's less manual data entry. And the reason for this is CPR, consistent, predictable, repeatable. The other system had too many variables to where people could attribute a document. It'd be the same document, but it'd be attributed 20 different ways. I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. And then, of course, once the electronic document is archived, we don't have a paper document to dispose of. So again, now in PSSP, with open text, project personnel still has to approve the document to be part of the project file. Then we go in, we scan at least 300 dots per inch, proper orientation, black and white color, legible prior to attributing. We have a minimum of 6 manually entered attributes in order to archive a document. Now I'm going to click on the See Quick Reference Guide, you guys, in a little bit, and you'll know what that is if you've used this system before. After archive, we have disposition of the paper document. Now with PSSP, we still have to approve the document. So even though a document shows up on this website, does not make it a part of the project file. Somebody still has to review it and approve it. The document's already electronic, so there's no more scanning. And like I said, just a few mouse clicks. I'm going to show you the metadata source list, which kind of goes through and ties itself to the quick reference guide. We're still going to have to type the subject description to attribute the document, but then on the bottom, there's a little checkbox that you click on, and that's what sends the document to EDMS once you get everything done. So the quick reference guide, let me go ahead and just click on that real quick. And I'm sure everybody's familiar with this. We have the document groups, document types. The items in blue and the red are the subject description you have to type in. And I just wanted to show everybody this because we really haven't changed much from this. And I've got another view I'm going to show you with the metadata source list. So let me shrink that back down. Click on the next one. And of course, we don't have a paper document for disposition. So let's go ahead and check out the metadata source list. I'm going to go ahead and click to the website. Let me go ahead and log in here. Something to take note, the websites are located in Parsons Brinkerhoff. So with that said, your user ID is tied to their servers, so it's its own password. The other thing is when you log in, your user ID, you see the PBSVC /. That's going to be it every time you log in, and then your username, whatever you get via the email once you get logged into the site. So let me go ahead and log in. So, and I'm going to show you how to navigate to this site as well a little while. But let me go ahead and just click on one of my newer sites. This is an active site, which the project hasn't begun yet, but I wanted to show you how this works. Now, once you're logged into the site, over on the right, you're going to have these quick links. What I wanted to show you is the available document descriptions. What we've made is, how we have the groups and types. Well, we've made a drop-down that ties each group and type to one document drop-down. Well, a couple. So let me just show you all the drop-downs, the available selections you're going to have. There's over 200, so I know you're not going to memorize this, but we'll go over it again a few times in this webinar. I just wanted to show you everything in this column on the left is part of the drop-down that you're going to be selecting to archive or attribute the document. Now, to make sense of this, let me go back. And over under the quick links again, under the available document descriptions, we have available doc description by EDMS group and type. Click on that. it's going to give you an idea of how these groups and types are tied to each document description. So for instance, claim. I'm going to go ahead and drop it down. So contractor claim letter, notice of intent to file claim, response to claim letter. Well, the drop down that you're going to select for the EDMS group and type claim, contractor claim letter, is claim letter from contractor. So you select that, it's going to automatically fill in your group and type. Now obviously to define the document more, you're going to have to add the subject description, and there's a few other fields that we've given you the ability to define the document more. And again, I'll go over that in a few minutes. I just wanted to show you that if you're having trouble locating the document in the drop-down, you can go to this. You can say, well, I know in the old system it used to fit in estimates. And then you can locate that drop-down and then go in and attribute the document accordingly. So, like I said, it's a new system. It's something to get used to. This is a great tool for you to use to understand what those drop-downs mean. So let me go ahead on. So that was the metadata source list, how it ties to our EDMS groups and types. You're going to have to use that quite a bit until you get used to this system. Now, I wanted to go ahead and show you how do we get to the project documents library, because that's what this webinar is really about. Getting into the project documents library, opening a document, viewing the document, understanding what it is, where it belongs, attributing the document, and putting it in the project file, which is EDMS, Electronic Document Management System. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And this should be familiar. This is the internal Infonet DOT site. But for all those that are consultants, anybody, I'm going to go ahead and just show you how to get there from the external site. I'm going to go ahead and click on the construction external. So obviously we're on the World Wide Web, dot.state.fl.us/construction. If you go over here under other resources and click on programs and services, you're going to reach another site where we have e-construction. And on the bottom of that, you're going to see Project Solve. Click on that. This is where we're going to be loading our webinars for future reference. So if you didn't catch something or you want to review it later on, you can go back here and we're going to post the how EDMS functions here on this location for your use. But I wanted to show you how to get to the project documents library. So we're going to click on the Project Solve SharePoint launch page. This will bring you up to a roll-up of all the contracts in all the different districts. It's a nice location. I'm going to go again back to E1P55. And again, you have to have access to each individual site to be able to get in. All right, so now that we're in the site, you're going to see libraries and lists. The project documents library is located right here. Click on it, and this is where you're going to be working on all project documents. Okay, now that we got there, I'm going to move on back to the PowerPoint. We're going to go over how do we upload documents into that site now, because the documents can be sent to the project documents library several ways. We can upload it through the site. You can email it to the site, and from what we've seen doing all the pilot projects, that seems to be the contractor's choice method. With emailing, you don't even have to have user access. You just have to have the email address. And once you have that email address, anything you attach to that email goes straight into the project documents library. And then, of course, we have the option of dragging and dropping. So I'm going to go through all of those. Uploading a document. Now, let me go back. I'm going to log into the actual site. Here we are. Now, to upload a document, there's a couple different things here. I'm going to go back to the main page real quick. You've got the contractor can upload a document here under the quick links. You have upload document. CEI can upload a document over here from the quick links. or go straight into the project documents library and click on New Document. Then, of course, you're going to browse your file. Before I start adding a document, something very important. You know, when you're saving a document, let's say to your desktop, and it's named, let's say, Estimates, and it's saved. And then you go in and you try to save another document named Estimates. What's it going to do? Do you want to replace that document? And you say yes or no. If you don't want to, you got to rename it. So it's really important that anybody who is uploading a document to this site, I would say use a date time type of stamp in the name. That way it's always different. And that way you're not overriding a document. Now with that said, we do have the ability to where you check out a document and then you want to check it back in. And that's this little box, add as a new version to existing files. What that will do is it'll keep a copy of the original document, but it'll save a new version of it with the changes made. And that way you can see the history of the document. And in that case, you can keep the same file name. And then, of course, we're going to have a history of the document. But in this case, it's the first document we're going to be uploading, so I want to check off Add as New Version because it's going to be a brand new document. I'm going to click Browse. It's going to go to my C drive. I went ahead and made a file here, PSSP, test documents, and let's start with Earthwork Survey cross-section. I'm just going to go ahead and load that. Hit OK. And the document uploads to the project documents library. So that's one way of loading a document onto the site. With this option, you get the ability to go ahead and start attributing the document. No matter how you send the document to the site, attributing is the same for all of them. So I'm going to show you that after I get done loading documents. So another way to do the documents, we also set up a website when we set up these sites. In District 1, and I believe a couple of the other districts, we're putting the website underneath the project announcements. And that's right here. Use this email address to send your document to the project documents library. So if you just put this in the CC of any of your emails, whatever you send that's attached to that email, now the email itself is going to go to is not going to go to the site. It's just whatever's attached to the email. We have the option of turning on the emails to go to the site, but a lot of the emails we've noticed don't have any information that's relevant to the project. It just has the attachments. So we decided to save you time. We turn that off. So when you email the site, it's only going to save the attachments. If the email has relevant information you require to put in the project site, you can save that off of your Outlook at a later date and drag and drop it into the site. So let me go ahead and show you how to email the site. Just click on there. I'm going to allow my Outlook to open. And here we are. Attach file, test documents. So I did the earthwork survey. Now let me do stockpile materials request. And just if you didn't know, I'm the district final estimates manager, so I deal with all these on a daily basis. And I'm just going to say test and send. Now, depending on your email server and, you know, basically what I'm getting at is the document's going to take a little time to load, to show up on the site. So don't expect it to show up the second you send a document. As you can see, it's not there yet. I can refresh. It's probably going to take about 5 minutes for it to show up. But if it doesn't show up right away, don't worry, it'll show up. So, emailing a document, uploading a document, and now I want to show you how to drag and drop. And let's go certification disbursement, drag and drop. There we go, certification disbursement, dragged and dropped. Earthwork survey, that one I uploaded. Let me see if I refresh and see if the email shows up. Not yet. We'll give it a few minutes, it will. So we did the drag and drop, we did the emailing to the site. And now we're going to talk about attribution of the project documents in the project documents library. This is what everybody's been waiting for. I know you're on the edge of your seat and you're super excited. So am I. But let's do this. All right. Just kidding. So you're going to navigate to the project documents library. People are going to be emailing the site, other people dragging and dropping, uploading documents. Now it's time to define that document. As you notice, if you look right now, you'll see that when these documents hit the project documents library, our newest sites automatically give what we call the project metadata. So it's going to give you the contract number, contractor name, the FPID number, the roadway. It's going to give you that information right away. You don't even have to, that's attributes that you don't have to manually enter now. But you're still going to have to define a document. So in order to do that, again, you got to have user rights. So you got to be either the project administrator or the contract document reviewers group. If you're in those two groups, you're going to click on these three buttons. You're going to click on these three buttons. Oops. And then you're going to hit Edit Properties. But before I do that, I wanted to kind of show you something. You're working with electronic documents, and I know in the past I've been using EDMS, ArcSys, all these different things for a very long time, and you like to view the document while you're attributing the document. So what I would suggest is go ahead and open the document in a new window. That way you can go ahead and view what you're attributing. So in this case, we're doing the certification disbursement. So let me just swing that over here, swing this over here. Let me go ahead and open the document. Like I said, 3 dots, 3 dots. Go down to Edit Properties, okay? Now then, this is the attribution screen. I'm going to go through it really quick just so you have an idea of what all's here. The first one is the document name, and you see the little asterisks. This is the document that is basically like saved on your desktop, you know, the file name and everything. Remember I said you probably want to put a date and time stamp on these documents. I went ahead and put today's date prior to saving them. That way, if I were to save certification disbursement over and over again and just keep rewriting that same document over and over again. And I know they're all, you know, they're monthly items, so you want each month's defined. The document date is also pre-filled on the date that the document arrives to the site. The document description here is the drop-down. Now that's what I was showing you earlier. The selections we have that tie to the groups and types that I showed in the beginning of this PowerPoint. So again, I'm going to go through that in a second. And then the subject description is your type field to help to better define the document. We also have a structure number. So if you have an item that's tied to a structure, you're going to click that little radio button, specify your own value, and put the structure number in there. 6-digit structure number. Down here, we've also got another item. Let's say you have multiple documents coming in tied to a specific work order, supplemental agreement, disposition of defective material, or a monthly estimate. You're going to hit one of these radio buttons, and then you're going to define which number that goes with. And if you read here, now you're going to think, yeah, tie it to site manager change order number. Well, not everything's going to become a site manager change order, so I'd be careful about that. So what you're going to want to do is probably set up your own numbering system for everything, and that way you can track them through here. And then later on, once you get done, you can basically zip all those files into one file and attribute it according to whatever actual change order it is. So with that said, we'll keep going down. We also have areas for different users to comment on the document. And the projects all have SharePoint sites. Retain this information, and later on, once we close the projects, we will be archiving all that information, which will be tied to the EDMS number, which is, again, our projects all have SharePoint sites are not the project file. I got to remind you. Just because a document is here doesn't make it a part of the project file. You have to define that document and decide whether it is approved or not approved. And once it goes into EDMS, that is the project file. So again, I'll just go through. You check the box, it'll send it, and then somebody can, I'm sorry, let me back up. These boxes, again, notify, construction PM, notify, EOR. As long as we have somebody in the system tied to those roles, tied to this contract, because those are project-specific roles, then this system will send them an email, which they'll have a link. They'll click on the link. They can review the document. And within that link, there's another link where they can go to this screen and type in their comments and save them for you to review at a later date. And then all the way on the bottom, you've also got PA final responses, draft responses that you can type in. And then, of course, we've got this big bad boy here. All the comments are done, signature's done, the document is complete, you're ready to send it to EDMS and archive it. You're going to check that box, go down here, and hit save. But before that, let's go ahead and just archive this specific document. So I'm going to go ahead, this one's certification disbursement, 700-01038. There's a couple different ways we've set this up. We have it by number first, so 700-010-38. And it's right here. So that's one way to view it. Or you can go type in C for certification, and then just kind of scroll down till you find certification disbursement. And there, certification, payment to subs, there it is. So CERT, you can type it in that way, or do the 700-01038. I'm just going to say June cutoff 2016. That'll help me define the cutoff date for the certification disbursement. I could also do monthly estimate. Let's say it's 0001. I don't really need any comments because the document says what it is. And just, I'm not going to put it in EDMS yet because somebody might want to comment. So I'm going to go ahead and just save it. And now it's going to go and do workflows and fill in the document group, document type. It already put in the contract number, the FIN number. And then the only thing I'd have remaining to do to that document is check the box ready for EDMS. If I were to check that box, what happens is every 15 minutes we've got a program that pulls a document from your website, puts it on a holding site, on a district site for our quality control to look at. And I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. Actually, let me go to my district site. You're not going to have access to this site unless we give it to you. But what we have is we've got a few things. We've got on our district sites, this isn't for everybody, this is for our quality control, but I do want you to know we do have quality control involved in this. We go to our electronic document management system, and it does a roll-up of all the documents that move from each individual site to our holding site, and then we can view by date, by contract, or anything. Gives us the document ID from the Project Solve SharePoint site. Also gives us the document ID from EDMS. There's also another document ID specific to this site. And so all those three document IDs, you can basically trace every document and know where it goes from the Project Solve SharePoint site to our nighttime holding site. And then at midnight or 1 in the morning, it gets picked up by our EDMS servers and flawlessly goes into EDMS overnight, archived. And then we just want to make sure that we didn't have any hiccups when that happens. But it's right on, and I think people become more and more comfortable with the fact the documents are archived once they leave this site. But we do have the ability to turn that off, and then you have to go back into EDMS, do your quality control, and archive it at that time. But currently, the system archives it right away. Go back here. Let me go back to the UNP55 site, because I want to attribute another document for you. So we did the monthly estimates. Let's go ahead and do the earthwork survey waiver. What I was going to show you a minute ago, and I couldn't find, we have Excel files that show us what happens every night. So we actually have every single night, we have basically an Excel file that shows us every document that's moved from Project Solve into EDMS. So we have a tracking of every day's activity. And we use those files also for quality control. You know, one thing I didn't talk about, and when I was attributing this document, is, I don't know if everybody can see, but there's an approve reject. The SharePoint sites, just because the document's dropped on here, once it's dropped on here, only the people that have the ability to work with those documents are going to be able to view those documents until you actually approve the document. Once it's approved, then it's going to be there to view for the contract, or anybody who has a view right to the site will be able to see the document at that point. But if you don't approve it, it's going to be out of sight, out of mind. No one's going to even know it's there. So, you know, once you send it to EDMS, and if you're good with the document, all comments are done, then you're going to go into that document, and you're going to click on the approve button. And that's it. Once you approved it, you're done with that document, and you don't need to look at it again, unless you want to open it and view it again. So let's do the certification disbursement, just because I wanted to show you a different way to view the doc. So again, let me go back one time. Sorry. Again, open it in new window. And then you're going to go ahead and click on Edit Document, Properties. And you can select by the number, which is 700. Let's see here, certification disbursements. There it is. 01038. I can't mess that up. And then this one, just say June cutoff 2016. And then I go down here, monthly estimate again. There's no value for the structure. 0001. And I'm done with that document. I'm going to go ahead and just save it. And then the only thing I'd have left later on would be to check the box ready for EDMS and then approve the document so other people can view the document. With that said, I don't think I have anything else to show you. Let's go ahead and go to the panel. Doug, you want to join in?
Here's one question. Okay. Does the consultant need to submit an ARF for a password and access to the system? Well, the answer to that is no, because the system is outside of the DOT network, so ARF wouldn't apply. Another question is, can we electronically sign a Word document with IdenTrust? And the answer to that is yes. There's a couple of ways to do that. If you have a Word document where multiple signatures are required, you can put the multiple blocks in there for the signatures, and then they can each be signed. That's true for PDFs and for Excel sheets and things like that. Can you email multiple files at the same time? The answer to that is yes, you can do that. We tested that several times. I think I actually sent, well, you can send, 100 documents if you can fit them into the email, and it goes, because we send those forms to the sites in that same fashion, pre-filled. Okay. If a document is a single document plus tied to another, i.e. monthly estimate, can the single document be put into EDMS and then also added to the estimate package? Yes, I think what we're talking about doing there is creating the estimates package by formulating a zip file for that package and then attributing the zip file as an estimates package. That way it all goes at once in one file.
I can go on that real quick if you want.
Sure, you can show them.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Just right now, the zip file, how that would work is once you're in the project documents library, you're going to notice the documents over here. I'm going to pretend like the attribution is completely done. They're already in EDMS, doesn't matter. What you're going to do is you're going to check all the documents you want to make a part of that zip file. You're going to go up here to your library. Actually, your files. You're going to work with your files. And then over here, you're going to notice zip or unzip. You click zip and say June 2016 cutoff estimate 0001 zip. And it will take those documents. Let me refresh. Boom. And it took these two documents and put it in the zip folder. And I'll show you. And there they are. And we've already tested it. They move into EDMS no problem. You're able to open them and view them. You can put a Word document, Excel documents, and make them all different. And they zip no problem. I hope that answered your question. And then, of course, you'd have to go in here and attribute the document, just like you would any other document. And that's it.
Scott, I think the next question is a good one for you also. If a document is automatically archived, who is then able to make corrections if corrections are needed?
Well, within EDMS, if the document is archived and there are errors made, for one, it shouldn't have been sent to EDMS, okay, so it did. Somebody messes up, they send it to EDMS, it's archived. Well, I know in my district, I have the ability and one other person has the ability in my district to delete documents. So each individual district should have somebody who can delete archived documents. You're just going to have to explain away why it was sent in the first place. But it happens, and I understand that. So there is an ability to delete it. Can you correct it once it's archived? I mean, you can re-attribute it, but the documents themselves, if there's an image issue or missing documents, you're going to have to delete it and completely start over.
The next question is, can you show us again how to get to the website for a consultant, not a DOT person?
Sure. And this is really easy. It's www.dot.state.fl.us/construction. Hit enter. You're going to scroll down. Under Office Resources, you'll see Programs and Services. Click on that. Scroll down again. You want to get to the e-construction. You'll see Project Solve has a link on the bottom there. Click on that. And then we have the Project Solve SharePoint launch page. And again, you're not going to be able to get in there unless you have access. You'll have to get access granted through your district. And it's usually through the specific project you're going to be on. And That's it. But click on the SharePoint launch page, and that'll bring you to the Parsons Brinkerhoff website, where we're hosting all of our collaboration sites. And you should be able to get to every district site off of this location.
Okay, thanks. Can you save the email as a PDF and merge with the document and then upload it to PSSP? You could do that.
Yeah.
But
what I've also noticed is you can literally, and I'll show you this. I'm not saying this is the best way, but you can do this. Let's just say I have an open folder, open my Outlook. I'd like to say you can drag and drop straight from your Outlook, but you can't. What you have to do is drag and drop to your desktop or a file folder. Let's say I'm an open book, so I don't care what you see here. These are all my emails. Let's just say this one, contract mailer. You can drag and drop that, and what happens is it becomes an Outlook file. And then you can take that message file and drag it and drop it onto the site, like here's C1P55. And then you can, of course, work with that file. Let me get to the project documents library. Open up this file, and then just drag and drop it in. And there's the email. The other thing is, if this email had attachments inside of it, those attachments would be a part of this document as well.
So you would then attribute
Correct.
the item here in relevance to the documents that were attached.
Yep.
Okay. So there's many ways you can do that. And also you could have taken the email in the document and zipped them together and attributed it as one package. Let's see. You note that document comments will be archived. If these document comments are not part of the EDMS upload and the project sites are not saved or archived, how are these document comments archived? Well, the way that's done is when you can export the entire library into an Excel spreadsheet, and when working on the process which then takes the EDMS number that was put on it when it got sent to the district, so that you'll have a complete Excel spreadsheet with the document numbers in it, with all the comments that were relative to the document that got sent. So it's being worked on. You can do it right now, but there's some things you have to do manually presently, and we're trying to work on methods to get it done automatically for you when you get ready to close out your project. Okay. Does it let you type the first two letters and auto scroll that item in the list? Yeah, Scott, if you'll pull up like that first item, the edit properties, and if you just type CERT real fast, C-E-R-T, it'll jump right to it. So, for example, if you were looking for controlling items of work, you just type C-O-N-T and boom, it'll jump right to it. So the answer to that is yes. Does the comment section of the attribute page take the place of form letters that are used for acknowledgement or acceptance? I'm not sure about that. Scott, can you help with that answer?
I mean, I'm not sure what they're specifically talking about, but I mean, you know, a comment's a comment. The main thing is it coming from the proper person?
Oh, I see what you're saying. The rest of the question is, for example, we currently use a form letter for acceptance of the CQC plan. So whatever they put into the final response for that document, if you scroll down right there, Scott, the final response right here,
Right there.
right there, whatever you type in there, it will notify the contractor in a written email about the disposition of the document. So if you, for example, wanted to reject the document, you could do it right there as well. You could say this document is unacceptable, please resubmit or something, whatever.
And, you know, specific to that question, I heard her talk about contractor quality control, and I don't know if you can add anything to this, but as my understanding, we're going to have another system to handle some documents for approval, which is the MAC system, correct?
Yes, that's correct. When this is all said and done, will there be a manual like Site Manager to reference back to? Well, actually, there's a lot of manuals already there, and I think if you go to the help screen up there, you can show them that. There's a good amount of help that's already there. Training and FAQ. We'll be adding additional user guides and things like that for specific functions. Who will provide support when we have problems with the system? Normally we send to our FDOT service desk for support. What do we do for PSSP? Actually, you're going to be doing the same thing. Send an email to the SCO group in Tallahassee. If the group here can help you, we'll do so. If we can't, we'll bubble it up and get assistance from Parsons if it's an issue that's beyond our scope. And also, I think, Scott, you were about ready to click on it. If you have issues and bugs that you want to report that will wind up in our court to look at and evaluate, you can go in here and add items into this list. So essentially, the same way you get help on Project Solve, you can get help on PSSP. Use the same email address. And I think at the bottom of each project site, there's a request assistance. And when you use that one, it goes directly to Parsons. Typically, if there's an issue where you can't get logged in or something like that, you can do that at the bottom where it says f.support.com. That email goes straight to Parsons Brinkerhoff, and they would take action to give you assistance. We kind of want to start straying away from that because there's issues that we would have on our side that Parsons folks wouldn't have any idea of what you're talking about. Like some of the stuff like archiving EDMS and things like that. Those are things that we control as policy-driven things inside of FDOT. When you use the email going directly to Parsons, you'll be asking questions about the SharePoint site itself, or a button that doesn't work right, or things that aren't relative to FDOT business practices. So just keep that in mind if you ever use that one. Okay. Does the PA have to review every document before it can be added to EDMS? That's up to the PA, I believe. And if you have a QA person in your call center that would normally do that, I think the QA process can be shared between the two.
Yeah, I would just suggest, with anything, it's a team effort. Obviously, the PA is in charge, but you can delegate certain things. I know that's how it's currently done in different offices. So we're not going to change the way we do business. It's just make sure that the people that are doing that work have the proper access to the site.
Is there a section for final estimates to make audit comments?
Well, if the document's sent to the final estimates group, they do have a comment field. But other than that, they're probably going to actually go into EDMS and make their comments on that document. Because again, this isn't the project file, the file is EDMS. So I'm hoping when you reference documents, you'll reference the final EDMS number and not Project Solve SharePoint.
Are there going to be EDMS numbers generated with the new system, and how will it affect finalizing the contract package? Whenever, I think Scott already alluded to that when a document is added to EDMS, it generates a document number there, and it's returned back to the PSSP system via a log file that comes back from FDOT. So yes, the numbers will be in the system. How will consultants get passwords for PSSP? You'll be given a link during the pre-construction meeting that will take you to a place where you create an account, and it goes through a process that confirms that you're a real person, and just like you would if you were setting up an account for a credit card or something like that. When you get the confirmation email back, we take action here in Tallahassee to go ahead and activate the account request, and then you get an email back saying that you have a new account with a temporary password, and you change it and get going from there. Once your account is created, then your project administrators folks would have to add you to that project as being a member for that project in the security group. What is the easiest way to get a TSO estimate to PSSP? Well, I think if you just emailed it to the site, either one of those ways that Scott showed you how to get a document into the project document library, you can do it. So
yeah, I would say the big part there is I usually have issues trying to save a document while using Citrix. So if you have an SSL VPN, just save it to your C drive, and then drag and drop, email it, any of the above on how you can get a document in that project documents library.
The next one, what is the quality control plan for PSSP documents? And really, it's no different than the current EDMS quality control plan. Has it been decided how long a project will remain in Project Solve after final acceptance? It'll remain there until the project staff indicate that everything's ready to be taken down. So if you wanted to keep it open long enough to make sure that you got all your documents in EDMS, the final acceptance doesn't make it go down. You have to actually tell us when you're ready for that project to go down.
I know we were thinking about waiting until the contract's actually the final payment's been made and the contractors accepted our offer final payment. At that point, there's no more real collaboration between the contractor and the department, and therefore we were thinking we could probably shut it down at that point. If there's claims involved or anything like that, then it can be a district-to-district decision on when they shut it down. But it is a collaboration site between the contractor and the department. Why would we shut it down upon final acceptance when he still has documents to submit to us? So that's my thought, but I don't think we've set it in stone on when we're going to actually shut these down.
That's true. Just need to realize that every project site that goes online, we are paying a monthly service fee for that. So if you keep them open longer, that'll eat into the budget. In other words, if you've got 40 projects in your district and it kind of stays at 40 all the time, in other words, new projects come in and old ones are closed out. So your level of project activity stays at approximately 40 or something like that. Then we're better able to figure out what the budget's going to be for the upcoming year, how much we're going to spend on this system, and that kind of stuff. Each project, we're paying $125 a month to keep it online, and which is not too exorbitantly expensive. But when you add that up to 500 projects across the state, it starts adding up. What types of file formats can be loaded into Project Solve and transferred to EDMS? Virtually any type of project, and if there's EDMS site has a a MIME type filter on it that if you have a file that doesn't fit the MIME type, then it'll get kicked back from the district. And it'll say it in that log when it comes back that that was an invalid file type. So if you get one of those, you need to talk with your district IT group to find out if it's possible to change for the EDMS site on the district to accept those types of files. We've already had some of those occur. They weren't accepting zip files for a while, but that's been approved and everybody's starting to accept those now. So pretty much any type of file you can think of. Is there a possibility of those of us with jobs letting in July to be able to have early access to PSSP, possibly test mode, in order to become familiar with the screens and maneuvering with this site? I think that each district has a training site, and I don't see any reason why you couldn't be given access to those training sites to explore.
Yeah, I'm showing everybody, we've got these contract site ones set up for each district. These are testing sites that people can be granted access to and play around in.
I guess they could just ask the district administrators if they can have access to them, and they can add them to them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, we're getting down to the end of the questions. What we'll try to do is get all these questions answered in writing back out to the participants. We'll also put it on the website for everyone's reference. With that, I think we're all right. Scott, I'll let you say goodbye to folks.
Well, I thank everyone for their time, and like I said, we'll have this posted. Andrew, I'm sure he'll get this posted out there soon. If you missed anything, go ahead and feel free to go back to the site that I showed you and review this document again. Other than that, have a great day. Thank you.